You know, even if you're an avid card maker, you can be caught without the perfect card.
I know that's happened to me, Paula.
Has it?
Teresa's actually got some tips and tricks for us to make really quick cards, 15-minute, 30-minute cards that don't look it.
Ah, that's the best part. Let's see. Now, Teresa has some tips for us, and she begins with start with a purchase card rather than doing cardstock, cutting it down and folding it. So that's her tip.
That's a great tip.
Let's get into this card, and you're going to see some of the other ways she has to save us time.
Looks like she's used a background paper here that has a big, bold pattern that kind of takes up the space.
That's exactly her point. And I have to say, we tend to use pattern papers, and guess why?
Well, why?
Why? Because we're paper addicts, I confess, because they're just wonderful. And they also give our papers the wonderful look at a very fast time frame.
Definitely.
Okay?
This card is very simple. It's only got 2 different papers on it, but it looks full and complete.
It does. And inside, we've got a matching little sentiment, which
beautiful.
Is using the same paper, so very easy to do. And this is in Teresa's 15-minute grouping. So step 1, her tip is pre-purchased papers, pre-purchased cards that are blank, and then going with patterns that really take up the space. So
great.
2. Here is a third one, which is get some ready-mades.
Yeah, and my eye is just immediately drawn to this focal.
Isn't that cute? Now, this could be anything. It could be a supersized bread.
A monogram.
Absolutely. It could be a large flower. Anything that's already there. Now, this comes out of the baby 8x8 papers. She has punched along this edge using a punch and then just strung her ribbon before that paper went on.
Cool.
That's
a neat stitched look.
Yeah. The alphabet tiles, the baby is right there. That comes out of the book. And then we've got another little tag again from the book.
I like this felt that she's used.
You like that?
Here.
A little rickrack. So she's made this very easy to do, and yet what I like is that it doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like you skimped.
No, it doesn't. It's full.
Here's another elegant
this is
card.
Gorgeous.
Do you like this?
I love this card.
Now, this is using the vintage papers. This is out of the vintage Sarah papers. 2 papers, just like you said before.
And then she's layered this felt right over them, so you don't even notice that these 2 papers have this line down the middle. They're just blended together.
Now, let's get in tight here. This is a Brad Buddy, and they're so lightweight. They're perfect for cards. This has been lightly tapped with an ink pad.
I love that effect.
And rubbed off so that antiquing has been done. So she's written with love. And then that's been done on this little piece of paper and then glued in place.
And you know, another thing before we go inside that she's done, I love that she's cut this card down a bit inside. It's not a full-size card.
You're right. And she did that with the first one, didn't she?
Yeah, I think she did.
So I think that's one of her other tips, is to scale down the card to match the papers, should you like to do that. Inside, she's got one of our card quotes, very simply just matted just to stand out against the back there.
Beautiful.
Okay, another 15-minute card is a great example of using purchased items.
Wow, that's so simple.
Isn't that? And this is a button brad, which has been put between, inserted in the flowers first and then zotted in place. Look how that little stripe just works so well.
I love that. She's pulling in the blue from the back, the turquoise of the background flower, and the pink. And it's just, it works wonderfully.
And then we've got some stamping. That's another way to do something very fast. She told me that instead of doing every letter, she really appreciated these the sentiment was complete.
Oh.
So that saved her some time. So happy birthday and then celebrate. This is one of the pieces in the
And she's using some stickers here on the front and on the inside.
Now, these were our 15-minute. You've got some 30-minute?
We've got some 30-minute cards.
Let's see what Teresa has for us.
So if you keep it simple and just use one technique, you're going to have your 15-minute cards, but you can spice it up a little, add in 2 or 3 techniques.
Now let's get in close and let's look at this edge, because there's a fun edge going on. If you have those giant scissors, that's great. If you don't, this is done with the Easy Stitches template.
Cool.
Isn't that neat?
So it looks like she's done this edge, but instead of just leaving it at that, she's gone back in and sanded that edge for an extra effect.
She did that before it was applied, and then she's got a doily, so that's part of her purchase.
And what's going on in the middle here?
This is a rub-on into a great big bird.
Really cool.
Do you like that? Now again, her hello comes as a complete hello, so that makes that fast. So she's got a couple of layering, that's her 30 minutes. Inside, she's used the giant card that's in the book.
And another rub-on. I love these.
Yes. Okay. Do you have more?
I've got more. We've got this thank you card.
Oh, this is from the vintage papers.
And she's used a lot of layering of a lot of different papers here. So they're simple cuts, just straight cuts.
Let's get
it's just
close.
a little layering that takes the time.
So I would think that you might cover the whole paper with the floral and then come back and do this tone on tone and then another one here and another stripe there.
And she's inked the edges so that these pieces really stand out.
The ribbon is beautiful.
I love that.
Isn't that pretty?
And I love how it overlaps here. The other layers.
And look at the space it takes up.
Yeah, that's great.
Thanks a bunch. That was another stamp set, and I like the brad in the middle.
I love the brad in the middle of that.
Isn't that neat?
Flower.
And then inside, she has done, this is very clever, she used the stripes as positioning for the stamp.
That is a neat idea.
So that's the
I would
borders.
not have thought to do that.
Very nice. And you can see the ribbon went all the way around her card in the front. So she didn't fuss with trying to tuck it under or anything. She just wrapped it around. I think that gave her a time savings.
Yeah.
You've got a cutaway card.
Yeah, a cutaway. So the other thing you could do is cut away. Cut off. Then you don't have to cover it.
Is that why it's called a cutaway?
Yes.
So she's covered it. Now this is one piece of paper, and then so she cut the angle, so up at the corner, so measure down, looks like a cup about 2.5 inches, make your mark, and then trim it, and she's put a little piece of paper just to finish that edge. Done another one here that's been matted.
And that's going to save you some time because the inside is already done for you.
It's already done. It isn't that striking. Again, this is with the card quotes.
She's inked that a little bit to add a little texture to it.
And that's perfect. So this is a diagonal cutaway, and you've got another one?
Yeah, this card, the bottom has been cut a little bit.
So you can see it a little bit easier if I raise that. This is out of the Busy Scrapper Birthday, and her technique is again to have areas that are already done for you, just like this big surprise. This is some of the self-adhesive felt ribbon from our friends at Queen.
And I love how she's just embellished this with all these little star brads.
Very cute. And then inside she's cut this apart. So you already have it.
Idea, yeah.
And just added that this tag and this little label are part of the Busy Scrapper Birthday. And of course, birthday cards, you always need a ton of those.
We could do a different kind of cut on our front. This one's got a half circle down here.
Now, the circle template's going to make that easy if you don't happen to have a plate that's the perfect size that you need. Isn't this interesting?
This is really neat.
Do you like that super size?
I do,
brad?
and it's just, it sits right there in the curve. It's a nice frame for that.
Now, this is out of the Friendship 8x8 papers. So we've got the Friendship tag, the other little tag, and then inside, we just have some area where we can write our message.
That's lovely, and I love this scalloped edge.
It's very attractive, isn't it? Now, one more.
One more. This one is a little different. We've got a gatefold on this card.
Now, what Teresa had said is that she loves the gatefold because it's attention-getting, number one, but it's a great way to use the papers with an edge, with a border. So we've got this large image for the front, and again, that's just part of the Busy Scrapper Birthday. And then when we open it, you want to cover the inside because that's where the first fold was.
Oh, right.
When your card comes.
We need to cover that up.
Right. And so we cover that up, and that's with the stripes that match.
Oh, that's the same stripe on the front.
And then this tag is also part of that book, as is this.
And I love how she's embellished it with just a little ribbon through here. It makes a big difference just to add one little embellishment.
So all of the tips that she has are being saved for you. You can see that in clicking on all the instructions for all of these cards. But Teresa, I think you've done it again.